All right, so something I've been thinking about a lot actually is we are now in the bottom, presumably, of a bear market for which we've never seen, not this fast. What happens when we run retirement plans today going forward? And I want to analyze that a little bit because I think this might lead you to be more pessimistic than you need to be. So let's go into this. All right, we're gonna use Diane from Minnesota, Diane sample, and I just want to share with you what's going on with old Diane here. Sorry, so basically Diane, she owns a house, $150,000. There are her property taxes. There's her insurance. So basically costs $3,000 a year to maintain roughly. She has an investment portfolio that just got hammered. We're just going to say it's all in an IRA, $253,000. All right. She has 8,500 in bank. We'll just make that bank account, boink, and we will make that Diane. There you go. All right, so her goal was to retire next year at March of 2021. All right, and if she were to do that, she maintained her health insurance, a Cadillac plan is what she said, and she's inclined to keep it because that's, I mean, like literally, nothing out of pocket. She was telling me about it. It was a pretty good plan, but it's going to cost her $750 a month until I do my calc. Well, anyway, it's basically $7,000 a year until she hits Medicare. And then once you go on Medicare, she'll have her Part B, Part D, and then she'll have a supplement. And we're just saying her whole out-of-pocket with supplement will be $2,000. All right, so basically that's a big expense for sure. She also wants to take these vacations until she's 20 years from now, until she's 80, at a clip of $8,000 a year adjusted for inflation. And she said that might be on the high end, but be that as it may, I just want to show you something here. All right. So then her income will be Social Security, and that's it. Social Security is going to kick in when she's 67. Her income is going to be $1,717 from Social Security. Got no other income. All right, so let's go into this, and I'm going to share with you something here. So she has a 31% chance probability of success. If we look, and the reason for that is her investments are giving her a 7.4% rate of return. Now, that 7.4% rate of return means there's a 15.9% standard deviation. All right, so she's like, look, I'm all in this thing. I just got hammered. I'm not getting out now. I'm not using a two-bucket thing. I just want to show you from where I'm coming from. So because she has a 7.4% rate of return, she has well, I'll tell you. Let's go to allocation. We'll just go to growth, which is 70-30. I'll show you the difference here. It'll drop significantly, I think. Yeah, she runs out of money. All right, so it doesn't matter. She runs out of money either way. I guess when she goes to preservation. For some reason, not changing. I don't know why. So let's do this. Let's go to, we'll switch out that account. We'll make this, we'll go to profile. And we'll make this account we'll say get rid of S&P 500, and we'll make it Wellington. There you go. We'll do Wellington at holding VWELX. There we go. And she would need to have 15,000 shares. I literally have no idea how many shares she'd need to have $250,000. Okay, 7,500 shares. Oops. All right, so 7,500 shares will give about $250,000. We'll save. Always make sure you save it, my friends. So now her investments will go from 7.4 to 5.6 because she has some bonds in there, international and stocks. And we go to retirement. It will reduce her retirement to 11%. All right, that's more along the lines of where she is. That blank. All right, so there we go. All right. So now, they're not changing that. It's weird. For some reason, it's not. It was not changing that right there. I'm not sure. Anyway, be that as it may. So she has 11% success rate of maintaining her not run out of money. If you go to confidence, you can see it. Look at that. It drops like a brick in water. So when she's 72 years old, 71, she has 50% of the time she had $8,000, 50% more than 50% of the time she had less, and then you can see the median that she has at 73 is 000. So that portfolio is not doing well for her for sure. Now let me show you why. All right, so basically look at Wellington. It gives her a 5.6% rate of return, but that's the average. All right, that's the average rate of return that we expect her to get from now until she dies. On any given year, there's a standard deviation between 10% on either side. So essentially, we'll just for simplicity say it's 20%. So she could get I mean 10%, but just for simplicity, say 10%. So with 2/3 of the time, she could get 10% plus the 5.6, so 15.6% on the positive, or 10% minus 5.6, negative 5% on the negative. So 2/3 of the time, she'll get between -5 and plus 15. 95% of the time, she'll get -15 to plus 25, if that makes sense. And then whatever the other, I guess, would be -25 to plus 35, something like that. Yeah, something like that. All right, but that's already factored. That is just the way she sits today. What I mean by that, we've already had a 30% decline. Well, 33 to be precise. Wellington, not quite as much. So what I'm trying to say is, look, this assumes that the history is not, how can I say this? The market is contingent on historical stuff in the next trading day. I'm trying to say, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. This assumes that yesterday's returns are meaningless till tomorrow's returns. And that's not true. That's not true. We are already down 33%. No one invests. Even algorithms. They all invest, even high frequency traders, between what happened previously to what we expect going forward based on the evidence of what happened previously carrying forward. Everyone invests like that. No one sits there and say, what happened yesterday is completely irrelevant. I'm not going to be paying attention to it. I'm just starting from scratch. Everyone says yesterday's performance has some effect in my decisions to make going forward. I hope that makes sense, because this is critical. The Monte Carlo assumes that the only evidence that matters is what's future proposal. And future says, well, historically, our standard deviation is 11%. Historically, our annual return is 5.6%. But it has no factor at all, thanks buddy, relative to what happened yesterday, the day before, the day before. And yet no one invests like that. No one sits there and say, I'm just going to invest like nothing happened. You're going to say, I'm going to make my decisions based on whether or not I think we have bottomed out, more likely at bottom, more likely at top. Everyone does that. And so are we more likely at the bottom or more likely at the top? Well, we certainly are at the top. We're certainly closer to the bottom. We might not be there, but we certainly are closer to the bottom than we were before, which inherently means there is more upside. All right, hold on just a second. There you go. And so what I'm trying to say is the Monte Carlo assumes that everything in the past that ever happened is completely forgotten. Wiped clean. Your slate and your brain is wiped clean, but that's not true. You're not likely to get another 35% decline on top of the 33% decline we've already had. There's not the same probability in a bell curve that you're going to get another 35% decline as opposed to getting a 25% growth. They're not the same probabilities. It's just basic common sense, man. You're saying, I'm already down 33%. Am I going to be down another 33%? That is not just as likely as I will be up 33%. It's not. It's more just as likely that it will be up 33% by a significant factor relative to what it was in the past, or relative to being down. I hope that makes sense. At some point, the market says, I can't go down anymore, because we know for a fact the low is zero. We know the market lowest is zero. At some point, it can't go beyond zero. And yet, if you look at these Monte Carlo simulations, they assume that it is a even distributed bell curve. Distributional bell curve, that it could be down 33% just as likely as it could be up 40% or something like that. But that's just not true, because we've already been down 33%. And then it could be down another 33% just as likely as it could be up 20%. That's simply not true. I hope that makes sense, because it's critically important to understand. You don't want to change it, because then what are you going to do? But what I want to show you, all right, so look at this. So now she is sitting on, 11% probability of success. Now, why can't I change this over to 100% stop? It's weird. Lately, it's just not working. I mean, not lately. Every now and again, it doesn't want to work here. I don't get that at all. That is weird why it's not kicking in. Nah, be it as it may. I'm doing something wrong. I'm not sure what it is. All right. So let's go back and say this is before she got crunched. All right. Oh, man. So before she got crunched, we're going to say she lost $100,000. She's down 33 We'll just use that for an example. So now we're going to say she has 12,000 shares. Will that give us 352,000? We'll say 10,500. There you go. So we'll say we are sitting here at 10,500 shares, which gives us $353,000, if that makes sense. All right. So what the retirement look like now? And this will make simple in a second. Look at that, changes dramatically. Like Diane told me today, that $100,000, in her case, it was like $50,000. It was the equivalent of 2 years of income. 2 years of income. So the issue is, she's not retired today. She's not. By the time, and that's what I told her, I said, man, if she does have 3 buckets. I said, look, she got 2 buckets of cash, 3 to 5 years in a Vanguard Target Retirement Fund, Retirement Income Fund, and the rest in the total stock market index. I said, so basically within 5 years, the money that you have in the total stock market index, in my opinion, there's a good chance that might be double what it is today. If you look historically speaking, when the market gets pummeled, it goes up significantly pretty quickly. This is why you can't miss the gains, because you could miss a pretty significant increase. Now, I'm telling you, it could go down, but the markets aren't as evenly distributed bell curve. They're not. They always are geared towards the positive, not the negative. I'm just telling you. So if we go back to where she doesn't have to take this money out, right? It changes by a factor of 6, her retirement. So as long as she doesn't have to tap into that negative, the money that's down $100,000, or in her case, it's actually $50,000, and that money can get back to where, I'm not even talking doubling. I'm just saying it went from 250 to 350. Yeah, my calculator. I don't have anything to type with here. Jeez Louise. Calculator. Hey, buddy. Jeez, man, I'm losing everything. Anyway, whatever that is, that's a 33% increase. As long as she can avoid taking that money out and get a 33% increase on her portfolio, which isn't, we've seen that happen many times in 1 year. Certainly 2, definitely 3, potentially. We don't know. Then she's right back at a solid retirement plan. So if you're running your numbers and you're getting nervous, you just got to remember, it is based on the worst case scenario that we're in right now, with an evenly distributed that says this could happen again and again and again. It's not, man. That's not likely to happen. It is distributed with a weight on the scale for positive growth. And because it is, the likelihood of ups are much higher than the likelihood of downs now, which means that, again, all she needs to do is get back that $100,000. And if it takes 2 years to get back that $100,000 and she can live on her cash in that 2 years, I just showed you, she's looking good, man. She's looking good. It went from 11 to 62. 62 is still not good enough. We'd have to do some adjusting. The first thing we did today is we went and said, well, what if we actually had her making a couple extra bucks. So we said, let's just have an income, add income. And we said, what if she makes $10 an hour? I can't remember what we did. Or $20 an hour. But what if she worked part-time? And she did it from 2021 to 2022. And boink, and that changes everything. It's not included from Social Security tax. She'll still have to pay FICA. And we go back to retirement. Watch this. That extra couple of years of income. Changed it to 61 to 69 just for a couple extra years of income. Then I think what we also did for her is we said, well, if we reduced your lifestyle expenses, because she's like, I'm not even sure what to spend $6,000 on. So, okay, well, if we reduce it to $8,000 on, what if we reduce it to $6,000? And watch this, lo and behold, she's right back fine. So basically reducing her goal of living of a vacation expense, having her make $20,000 a year for 2 years. Then she's fine. And the market going back up, in a couple of years, the market going back up, she's in a good place. Anyway, if you're worried about your retirement, please understand this. This is significant, which is the whole point of the barbell. You got to have the barbell. You got to have cash on the side to live on while the market gets crunched. You can't, this is part and parcel why you cannot take money from a portfolio that's declining, because the money that you take from a portfolio that's declining can inherently not grow again, and we want it to grow. And when it grows back, she gets her $100,000 back. She's going to be in a good place. She's going to be in a good place. Yeah, hope this helps. We'll see you.